Alright guys, hello, we are back once more, it's Rifkin and Zeph bringing you some more StarCraft Heart of the Swarm action, and we have once more Grubby versus Whiteraw, and it's going to be taking place on Akilon Flats as we've decided the map is called. Don't actually know if it's Waste, we had a bit of debate before this, but that's okay. Getting into this though, spawning here in the top left corner of the map is going to be the blue Protoss, Grubby.
And his opponent is going to be the red Protoss, Whiteraw.
Now, good guy Whiteraw, I mean, we're basically casting all these games from like various packs and downloads that we found online, and Whiteraw is one of the few players we've discovered who apparently uploads games when he loses. So we don't actually know, again, like every replay we've ever done, we don't know the outcome of these games coming into it, but most of the time you can assume, oh, I got the replay from a Whiteraw replay pack, Whiteraw probably wins all these games. Well, as we've seen so far, that's not the case.
Yeah, and it's actually pretty awesome, especially for players that want to learn how to be better. You know, it's all well and good seeing how Whiteraw wins, but it's also nice to know how you could possibly beat Whiteraw because he's so good.
Well, have
so
you
I suppose
seen?
It's great for learning experience.
There was this challenge thing or something. I can't quite remember the name of what it was called, but basically it's like, can you survive against Whiteraw? And if any of these amateur players, so like they take diamond level players, so no masters and things like that, but they're like, you know, if you can survive against Whiteraw for 20 minutes, you don't have to win. You just have to survive for 20 minutes. You get like some cool prizes, some swag, whatever from the website. I was like, that's actually a pretty cool idea. I'm going to check this out and see how it goes. Well, I'm watching these games, and these guys are doing tactics like trying to float buildings in the corner of the maps and stuff. But Whiteraw, he knows this coming, so he just builds like a void ray, and no one makes it past like 10 minutes type thing. And I think that is so cool that A, something like that exists, but B, that Whiteraw participates in it.
Yeah, it's awesome. He's one of the best community guys I've seen. He's super friendly. He loves doing show matches and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, we do actually see a lot of it.
I don't mean like physically age. I mean, he's been involved in the StarCraft scene since, well, forever.
Yeah.
Okay, once more in this PvP, we've got a mirror builds coming out of both these guys, double gases even.
More or less. Actually, Whiteraw has the quickest second gate, so he will be able to be perhaps a little bit aggressive here, try and catch Grubby out. But yeah, I suppose we'll see what the plan is. I've noticed that even though PvP is quite awkward, and a lot of the time in Wings of Liberty, you know, the builds are, okay, step 1, don't die to 4 gate. Step 2, do whatever else it takes to survive. And in the sense that the Mothership Core is a great tool for the early game, I'm surprised we don't see it earlier, but I guess in the super early game when people have 1 and 2 gates, it doesn't have that much utility until you want to move out.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it comes down to energy timing too. I mean, the earlier you have it out, I mean, having 2 time warps can win you a fight when your opponent only has 1.
Yeah.
But I was going to say, first off, I really like the comment, step 1, don't die to a 4 gate. Man, how many times, like how many years in StarCraft was that the problem, right? But I mean, it's kind of cool because we've got, beforehand at Wings of Liberty, you know, okay, it's 1 gas, it's probably going to be like 3 gate pressure or 4 gate or something. 2 gas, they're going to be teching. No, now with 2 gas, it means so many different things, which as a caster makes it a little frustrating trying to guess what the builds are going to be. But as a player, it opens you up to so many different things, which will in turn make the casters happy. So,
yeah.
All in all, cool, frustrating, and good, all at the same time.
Well, we got a Zealot. It looks like he's about to get picked off by these stalkers in the Mothership Core, and now it's a bit of cat and mouse. Great time warp for
beautiful.
the retreat.
Well, Whiteraw, you know, he doesn't have to just stop. He can take out that pylon if he wants, but he's going to actually take... Oh, nice. Both of them pulling the stalkers away at the last second. And that time warp lasts forever. I think it's, what is it, 30 seconds? Let's check this. Yeah, 30 seconds.
I think so. Super sick. Actually, another newbie question. Does time warp affect both players' units or only the enemies?
Only the enemies. So when you see like 3... This is what's so frustrating. When you're watching a PvP and you see 3 time warps go down on top of each other, there's no indication of whose belongs to who. So it's like, okay, well, a lot of units going to be moving slow for the next 2 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, I was a little bit confused for that reason, because I honestly haven't seen time warp used that much, because I've done, most of my casts have involved Zerg, and generally I've seen it a lot more in PvT using it in combination with storms and stuff, so I wasn't actually sure that
Really, I find that interesting. A lot of the protests that we've cast for the After Hours Gaming League have actually been using Time Warp a lot. So
Really?
I think that's.
Yeah, I don't know.
I know we've cast some of the same teams, which is why I find that a little interesting that you've seen it less, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. We had a Zerg in pretty much every matchup, and it tended to be if we did see a time warp, it would be for some sort of defensive measure
Oh,
at the last second.
the dirtiest Time Warp I seen was the Hydra Roach Army.
Hmm.
Double Time Warp with Colossus and Sentries. It's just like, what do you do other than like put your hands together, pray, and say like, please God, get me through this time. Like, okay, White Raw's gonna sneak a probe up here to the third base. If he puts a pylon down, he might just go for a bit of pressure, or at least try and catch Grubby off guard. But I mean, both these guys, look at them posturing at the top of their base. They got
Yeah.
sentries ready. White Raw, he's got the earlier Robotech going for him, so that'll be really nice to have. Grubby hasn't really definitively chosen an advanced tech path yet. He's sticking mostly with Gateway and upgrades for now.
Yeah, I actually like Grubby scouting with the hallucinated Phoenix here, so he's actually going to get a great idea of what's going on so far in White Raw's base, and we'll be able to react accordingly. But at the same time, White Raw is now sweeping his Phoenix over. This is something that's also been missing from PvP for a long time, this sort of scouting. Usually it has to be really careful observer scouting, just in case you lose it. But free hallucination is definitely the way to go.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, like, and it's funny too, because like you'd seen some people, and I'm talking like a very small percentage of the Protest population, do things like sometimes you hallucinate Colossus, go for some mind games, trick Stefano into building way too many of this and that. But now that it's free, we're gonna see a lot more usage out of it. I feel, and I'm really looking forward to that in matches, because before it was such a long research time, it was a huge gas investment, and quite frankly, not worth it. But Grubby is going to be going air in this. And Sky Toss, and he's already getting the weapon upgrades for it too. I mean, like, Immortals are great against everything on the ground, but they can't shoot up. And that's a major flaw in what's going to be happening in this game.
Well, perhaps White Raw's game plan may be to just decimate the ground army, and then even if you do have an air army, sometimes it's enough to just keep pushing with it and maybe taking out some bases or something. But you're right. I mean, especially if he starts getting more and more Void Rays, it doesn't matter how much ground army you have left over, because it's just going to get absolutely destroyed.
Yeah, Void Rays also don't really care about the hardened shield aspect. They attack with that beam, so it's kind of like, oh, well, you're an immortal? Too bad. But White Raw with the Colossus, if... I don't know, if he's got enough Stalkers, he can try and break through the Void Rays, but the problem is Void Rays shred Stalkers to bits. And I'm not talking like one Void Ray can take on a Stalker. I'm talking like one Void Ray is going to take on like 3 Stalkers.
Yep. And how many Void Rays does he have that so far? He's got 2, and he's got another 2 coming, so that's like 4 times 3, 12 Stalkers that are going to probably die to just 4 Void Rays.
I thought you were going to say that's 4 Void Rays. I'm like, yes, F, 2 plus 2 does in fact equal 4.
As broken casting rule of thumb, never do math.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, I hate doing math on stream. You got like people like Artosis who like show the world off by like doing so much complicated math on stream. Meanwhile, I'm like, okay, he's got 7 Stalkers and 3 Void Rays. He's got 11 units on the field. Like, oops, I mean.
Yep, I've had a few of those moments recently. But oh well, I guess it gives people an excuse to laugh at us while nothing's going on in the game.
Well, I mean, okay, it's getting to that point where there's going to be too many Void Rays. White Raw will not have a response to this.
Yeah.
I mean, the irony of Sentries are probably his best bet because they're light, but they don't do any damage. Sentries are not damage units.
Yeah, they're support units. There's actually a small whoop-in of Zealots here, but White Raw will push it back. He hasn't discovered the pylon down at his 3rd yet. May want to clean that up before he moves out too far on the map, just in case, because those else could swing around to mineral line. But he seems quite content to try and make something happen right now.
I don't know. Time Warp doesn't even affect air, so it's... Oh, it was getting a nice catcher with these sentries, actually. Going to pick off a lot of the ground forces. A really nice pickup for White Raw, but again, it's good. These Void Rays are getting out of hand, and there's just no anti-air. I don't mean to say there's little. I mean, there's just pretty much no anti-air.
Yeah. 8 Stalkers just got warped in, but really, White Raw's just going to have to make only Stalkers, and the Mothership Core
recalls itself.
That was a good move.
11 health remaining. I don't know if that was necessarily a good move, because if he rebuilt one right now, it'd have more energy, more health, and full shields.
Wow, it looks like Whiterot's actually realized that he cannot really make anything happen at this moment. But at the same time, Grubby's like, good, because I'm going to come at you now, and you're going to have one hell of a time.
Yeah, sure. Grubby's just sitting at his computer. He's like, good, yeah, totally, Whiterot. Like, look, Void Rays, the Guardian Shield will help. It's not going to help a lot, but it will help, and Whiterot's going to need every little thing here to try and get through this. Now Colossus, look how fast they go down! This is ridiculous! This is a charged beam! It is absurd! Now Whiterot is gonna chase these off for now, but those Colossus! What the hell was that?
Wow, that just happened.
Part of me wants to go back in this replay and watch that happen in slow-mo. Because in slow-mo, that will still be instantaneous.
Jesus, that was like a Colossus a second, not even. That is actually in this game. What?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But okay, we got DTs out, and here's the thing. Grubby actually doesn't have any detection. Having skipped his Robo, he's going to rely primarily on Oracles. And Oracles, they're not permanent detection. They're on use and limited detection. So these DTs might actually just get Whiterot back into this.
Maybe. I don't know, because he did actually scout the Dark Shrine when his Void Rays headed briefly into the main, so he's made some photon cannons in his mineral lines. So if he's going to do damage with them, it's certainly not going to be there.
Oh wow, there's a lot of cannons. You are absolutely correct about that. But if he can take out the starports, that cuts the production of Grubby. And Grubby is relying on his air. That's where the tech's been.
Yeah, I mean, photon cannons can only cover so much. And yeah, they cover the mineral lines, but, you know, he can still be quite an annoyance. He could even snipe the fleet beacon. That's way out of the way of any sort of detection.
Well, Grubby, I mean, he's got the mothership core here. He's going to be able to warp back out. He's going to get in, do a lot of damage with these Void Rays, and then get out. He might even just focus the Nexus, and if he does, it's going to go down real quick.
Oh no, Whiterot's stalkers are across the map right now. I think you're right, he's gonna get this Nexus.
This is so ridiculous. The DPS of Void Rays. Now all the pylons also going down almost immediately. I think the pylons are actually somehow living longer than the Colossus were, believe it or not. And then warps right out. Really nice play from Grubby. Actually, incredibly good play from Grubby. And I gotta say, like, I've cast several games of Grubby, and I'm talking like half a year ago where he's playing the Poker Strategy League versus Sheth. And he did the exact same sort of tactic. Comes in with this big army, snipes the Hive, in this case the Nexus, and then just warps out. So I mean, that's really nicely done.
Grubby has a really great sense of when he's done enough. You know, he doesn't get sort of overconfident and go, well, that died quickly, let's try and get some more, and then kind of end up losing his army or something. Yeah.
Now here's the good and the bad thing about what's coming out. These Tempests, they got massive range, they're gonna do tons of damage, but that plus massive is only versus air. Now I don't know if that's actually gonna apply to Colossus or not. I've never actually seen a Tempest hit a Colossus before, but I mean, Whiterot he's got Blink, that'll be nice, but again, the Void Rays are gonna, if he targets the Tempest, the Void Rays are gonna kill him. If he targets the Void Rays, you know, it's just, this is, I don't know. This is not a good situation.
Yeah, I'm kind of confused, like, what are you supposed to do when you open Robo Colossus and your opponent opens Mass Void Ray? Like, how do you combat that? Like, how do you not... I mean, because even if you decide to go air yourself, you're always going to be behind in that regard.
Well, it's like we had talked about in the other game between Grubby and Whiterot, where it's like a lot of it comes down to the Void Rays. I mean, you just kind of have to have your own Void Rays. It's one of the new parts of Heart of the Swarm. It's not a fun meta to have to accept, but I mean, it's kind of like, oh, I'm Zerg and I don't want to make Banelings to deal with Zerglings? Well, that's just not going to work. Same concept goes here. But the Archons, I mean, they're going to be able to tank a lot of this damage. And I really like that he got Archons for this, because there's nothing else he has that can really do anything here.
Yeah, I actually like how Whiterot's kind of split up his army. It looks like he's trying to maybe position himself to nab some of those air units. But he is relying heavily on DTs to get rid of the ground army so that his Stalkers can try and take care of as much air as possible, because he's warped in fair few DTs. In fact, where do they go? They don't exist anymore. What happened?
I think they were just trying to the Archons is what happened.
Really? Wow, I didn't even see him morph them, because I saw him warp in like 4 and then he sent them somewhere. Anyway.
Oh man, Revelation on these Stalkers will not allow them to flank the way he wants to. Grubby knows Whiterot's coming from behind. But here we go, Whiterun pushing forward. These Tempests just taking out the Archons. But the Stalker Blade from behind, right on top of the Void Race. He actually gets almost all of them before they can turn around on him.
Oh, that was sick play by Whiterun. Looks like he's finally
He's gonna catch a break.
That air on me.
Yeah, for the first time this game, Whiterun catches a huge break. And, I mean, these Tempests are just dead. You can't hit and run. The Stalkers are just going to keep blinking under them. The Destructible Rocks are down, so that's going to limit what can happen. But, I mean, look at the Zealots coming in here. Cannons, they don't care. They got Charge. Destructible Rocks, I got Blink.
Fantastic play by Whiterun. Really patient, and it paid off in the end. I guess that is just how you deal with Mass Void Ray army.
We got Whiterun hallucinating his own Void Rays at this point, too. GG from Grubby. So Whiterun finally wins a game in a replay pack he uploaded.